Hello, everyone. This is Carolyn McGee. I am here for your intuitive connection. Thank you, everybody who is joining me here. I am experimenting with doing a live and a Zoom. So yeah, bear with me as we figure this all out. Pretty exciting. I love technology, and it's a lot of fun for me to try and pull this all together for you guys. So if you do not know me, my name is Carolyn McGee. I am an intuitive coach. I am a teacher and a healer. I join you here on Tuesdays and Thursdays to talk about different aspects of our intuition. If you are watching me on Zoom, then feel free to join the group. It's Enhance Your Intuition on Facebook. We have a pretty lively community there, and it's a lot of fun. And if you are in the group, know that we are stepping out into the world here. So how fun is that? So my topic for today is myths around our intuition. And I have found in my experience that there's really three big myths around our intuition. Let me pull up my notes to make sure that I've got all my information here. So the first myth is, intuition is a gift. And yes, life is a gift. Everything around us is a gift. And certain people have a higher level of a gift. But everybody has intuition. Everybody has a certain ability to connect in with themselves. Everybody can sing. Yes, some people are better at singing, and some people have a very distinct way of singing, but everybody can sing. And whether we sing off key, whether we sing professionally, we can sing. And one of the beauties about utilizing our intuition is that the more we practice it, the better it becomes. And that's just like anything else. If we have if you have a talent for sports, and that and you want to develop that talent, whatever it is, you need to practice that. Oftentimes you will you reach out and you'll get a coach because you want to define that skill, you want to understand it, you want to get experience from and direction and support from an expert. So your intuition is very, very similar with that. It's we can't. Oftentimes it's been trained out of us, or we have been told that we're misreading in, the signals, and learning to go back in to our own ability, to our own intuitive skills, and understand what that divine truth is, that we are all divine beings, that we are all have that ability to connect to the information that is around us, and understand what is happening. So that is tip number one. It's that I can't do this. I don't have intuition. It's all in my head. Okay, so number two, sorry. I'm mixing up trying to look in multiple places here to keep everything straight. So, the other thing is that it's all in my head. It's not real. I can't trust what I'm hearing, or I can't, I'm making all of this up. So that's a myth. We all have, as I said with number one, we all have it, and it's a matter of practicing it and verifying. I like to use the terminology trust, but verify. And the more you verify, the more you either, practice on this, reach out to an expert to get that validation, or journal so that you can keep track of things. You know, oftentimes our intuition will come in as little puzzle pieces. You may get a bit of information by something that you see. You might hear something. You may have a dream. But by writing all of these things down, then you're putting together your proof. When you get an intuitive hit, when you write it down, you can go back later on and see that what you felt was true. You know, for example, many years ago, I felt that there was just something uncomfortable with a person that I was asked to hire. Now, she had great credentials. She had great references. But intuitively, I just felt extremely uncomfortable with her. She made me want to do this. She wanted me to protect myself. There was something in her energy around her that triggered me. And, you know, I thought, well, maybe I'm worried about her. Maybe there's all of these, you can make up stories, right? So my boss said, hire her, and I did. Now, she worked with me for about a year, and I noticed that she had this, she didn't support me. She went around me to my boss. She undermined me. She tried to take credit for the work that I had done. So I was starting to see her real authentic self, not the skill set that she had presented, but who she truly was at her core. And then when I went out on my maternity leave, she tried to take my job. So her true self came out. And even though I ended up leaving that company, I did go back after the end of my maternity leave, but I realized that what I had felt around the company and the integrity of the company and the integrity of this person, I didn't want to be involved in anymore. But because I remembered how I felt and I wrote it down, because it felt so weird. And I wasn't really fully stepping into my intuitive powers at that time either and really trusting them. But I remember feeling so uncomfortable that I just jotted it down. And then I was able to go back and validate, yes, I did have this feeling, and yes, it was real. So, you know, those are kind of some of the quick ways that you can start to do that. You can also, do body testing, ask your heart if it's real. There's so many ways that you can validate your intuition, and reach out to me if you want to learn more about those. So, the other thing is, people will laugh at me if they say that I've made a decision using my intuition. And, this one's kind of outgrowing its usefulness, because there's so many people that are using their intuition and are really becoming more well known for that. But I know when I was growing up and when I first started this work, if I would say, well, I just know that's true, people would say, what do you mean you just know that's true? How can you just know that's true? How do you believe that? Prove it to me. There was a lot of prove it to me statements. Well, one of the benefits for me in my particular journey, and also for you, if you're a television watcher, is NCIS and the character Gibbs, who is known for using his intuition. And actually, people will go to get his advice on what is his gut saying. So there's now a kind of a landmark almost to speak. And whether you watch the show or not, it really doesn't matter. He's an icon in the industry of television. So there's a person who is using their intuition, or a character that's using their intuition, that's driving a business. And there's so many other examples that we can use of that, where there's people who use their intuition, they use their gut instincts, they listen to spirituality. A lot of people, they go to psychics to help them make decisions. You know, there's people who will have their cards read, you know, with angel readers like me, or with you know, with other psychics, the tarot, in order to help them make decisions and move forward. Mediumship, getting support from people beyond, you know, that have gone into spirit. There is a lot of powerful people who are starting to come out and say that they use this as a tool. Again, I'm not suggesting that we use it as our only thing, but it's a tool. It's a tool to help us step into, you know, what is our next right step? Get a little bit of additional insight, because our own intuition is our most powerful asset. And when we use that along with our logic, and we use that along with all of the other data that is available to us, then we've got the full picture. Have you ever had that feeling where you were making a bad choice, or that something was going to happen to you if you did X, Y, and Z? Well, that's your intuition giving you some information. And I'm willing to bet if you attract it, that you've got a really high ratio of, yes, I was right in this particular situation. And as we do that, then it just allows us to dig further down in to what we intuitively know. And I'll leave you with one last example. So when I was house hunting many years ago, I was going through a divorce, and I was going to move into a town. I wanted to move into a town that was a little bit smaller, that would feel more like where I grew up for my kids. And I wanted to pick a place that had a really good school system. You know, my children were young at the time, and I had looked at a lot of different homes. When I walked into the home that I ended up buying and where my children grew up, I felt like I had come home. That's exactly the sensation that I got. I hadn't even stepped all the way into the home. I felt warmth and comfort. There was this sensation, literally, of coming home. And I started to see visions of, you know, my kids being happy, my kids playing in the yard, my kids having friends come over. You know, me cooking in the kitchen. It's like I could see this in all of these different intuitive ways, but it didn't stop me from walking around the neighborhood to get a feel for the neighborhood, from actually calling a couple of the neighbors and asking, you know, what is your experience of living here? You know, I'm debating coming in here with my 2 young children. What do you think? From, you know, evaluating the school system to make sure, you know, to see what the ratio of college graduates were. You know, I did all of that homework to understand, you know, that the price was right that was being asked for me, given the economy that was going on. You know, what was the potential for the house to appreciate over time? You know, all of those logical things that we can get so wrapped up in, they're really important. But they weren't the only decision, because if I did things logically, there was other homes that might have fit the criteria better. Same town, because that was a town that I was really drawn to, and that did have a fabulous school system. But you know, I followed that intuition that this is the optimum place, and it fit all of the other criteria. So I would love to hear from you guys if there has been an experience like that for you, where you have had an intuitive hit, so to speak, and you knew something was true and you were able to prove yourself right. And if you need a little bit of help with your intuition, I would be happy to help you with that. I have an intuition empowerment clearing session where we actually look at what your blocks are to your intuition, and then we do some really powerful mind-body work to help you move through those blocks so you can start trusting and utilizing your intuition to make those really important life decisions so that you can live with more health, more wealth, and happiness. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye for now.